Thank you for the opportunity to join this webinar today. We've already heard some great suggestions for unlocking reading comprehension. I will now share a few additional recommendations that support using real books to engage students in boosting comprehension at any grade level. As Stephen said at the beginning of this webinar today in his introduction, knowledge is powerful. And developing comprehension skills not only boosts vocabulary, it also unlocks learning, builds understanding, and grows knowledge. Building comprehension allows readers to connect ideas and fill in gaps, making reading more meaningful. It enables readers to notice other aspects of the text, such as discovering new words. And it supports students in feeling capable, more confident, and grows lifelong learners. As adults, we use our comprehension skills to turn information into knowledge. And this is the type of skill set and agency we are trying to foster in our students when we focus on boosting comprehension. We're also aware of the reality that it's difficult to meet all the demands of teaching the wide range of learners in our classrooms. Even the most highly rated curriculum is not one size fits all. Students can have vastly different knowledge needs, language experiences, and skills development needs in our classrooms. So if we only work within the core curriculum, we might miss some great authentic opportunities to make connections and support all of our students. Over the next few slides, we will share some suggestions for boosting comprehension using the books that may already be in your classroom. Our first recommendation is that you have and maintain a relevant and robust classroom library. It has been well documented that students who have access to a well-stocked classroom library read 50% more than students who do not have access to a classroom library. And increased time spent reading has shown to improve reading skills, including vocabulary acquisition, word recognition, and comprehension. So hopefully you have a great classroom library of about 250 to 500 current and relevant texts that provide access to a wide range of reading materials, reflect the identities and experiences of your students, and provide thematic connections to your core curriculum. As you review your classroom library, you might consider identifying certain texts that you either have or you may need to curate to supplement your teaching with interactive read-alouds. Read-alouds have been shown to be an effective way to develop the linguistic and cognitive tasks required to create strong comprehenders. Next, we recommend that you know your curriculum and you know your students. Consider what your curriculum asks your students to do and what your students are able to do. Then utilize your classroom library data, such as checkout habits and text complexity, to assess gaps in student knowledge and gather insight into students' interests and backgrounds. Then consider what you might need to add to your classroom library to meet the needs of all your learners. If you don't have a classroom library organizing system yet, Booksource offers a free web-based tool that makes this easy. When navigating complex text, we recommend incorporating these books as interactive read-aloud sessions with lively discussion, because most curriculum often requires the use of on-grade level text. Ask yourself, what am I going to do for students who can't yet read these texts? Using read-alouds gives all students access to the content of a rigorous text without the need to decode the words themselves. And there's a bonus, because hearing a fluent reader read is one of the best ways to improve student fluency. Also, we know that improved fluency leads to increased comprehension, because fluent readers make connections from word to word as they read. But there's so many more opportunities to boost connection and comprehension when reading a book aloud. During an interactive read aloud session, we ask questions and we use comprehension strategies to teach kids how to think by modeling our own curiosity and how we interact with the text. This is something that thought leaders like Stephanie Harvey, Molly Ness, Natalie Wexler, Doug Fisher, and many others talk about in their work. Small moves like hearing and learning how to ask questions helps students activate and build background knowledge and engages kids in practicing listening, talking, sharing, and questioning, all while connecting the learning back to the curriculum. Interactive read-alouds also help to make student thinking visible and audible in real time, so you will know immediately which students need additional support. Research has shown that more than half the variance in students' reading comprehension scores can be explained by the depth and breadth of their vocabulary knowledge. So, since vocabulary plays a critical role in reading achievement, our next recommendation focuses on understanding the vocabulary demands of the text you are using. Ask yourself, what words are critical to understanding this text, especially for English learners? Research also tells us that hearing or reading words in context leads to increased retention. So you should use read-alouds to introduce students to new vocabulary in the context of a story. And this might be more effective than isolated vocabulary words on a list. Another suggestion is to provide theme and topic baskets in your classroom library to increase exposure and regular interaction with a variety of text, especially with topics tied to your ELA and content area curricula, so students can encounter and learn new words in context and in multiple ways. When working on comprehension, it's also important to talk with your students about text structure. Find and share books that explicitly model or provide examples of the text structure that students need to know, such as cause and effect or compare and contrast. Use read-alouds to demonstrate how to work through different text structures and discuss features as you read. Stock a variety of books in your classroom library that feature different text structures so that students continue to gain experience through independent exploration and self-selected reading. If you need suggestions, we have several books on our website that model text structure and other text features. Another key component of building comprehension is background knowledge, which is how readers build connections, create context, and synthesize new information. For boosting background knowledge, ask yourself, what is the essential background knowledge needed to understand the subject matter? And what additional text might help my students more successfully access the subject matter? Then choose read-alouds that build background knowledge relevant to your curriculum and content area standards, and make sure that there are books in your classroom library that cover a wide range of topics and readability levels. For boosting stamina, engagement, and motivation, we again suggest regular read-aloud sessions, this time with longer texts to spark interest and to model prolonged engagement with texts. It's important to emphasize here that there's a wide body of decades of research that suggests that reading comprehension scores are more influenced by students' amount of engaged reading than any other single factor. And the two most powerful factors for increasing reading motivation and comprehension are student access to many books and personal choice of what to read. So we suggest auditing your classroom library on a regular basis, involving your students in choosing new titles, and making time for independent reading and book clubs at school using whole texts. Check out data from your classroom library might also give you insights into what your students are reading, like what's popular and what are they avoiding. You might consider which titles are frequently overlooked and ask yourself why. Or you might see which titles are checked out by the same student over and over again. This is all very helpful information when it comes to understanding stamina, engagement, and motivation. Data from a tool like Booksource Classroom provides you with an opportunity to have an informed conversation with your students and guides them into new areas or new text with increasing text complexity. In case you need assistance getting started with a classroom library audit or needs assessment, Library Lens is a free tool within Booksource Classroom, and it lets you easily see what topics, genres, and themes are in or missing from your classroom library. It's the best way to support engaged reading and lifelong curious learners. If you would like more information about our resources or services, please follow the QR code or reach out to a literacy account manager at service@booksource.com. Thank you for listening. I'm going to pass it back to Lisa Maria now.